always using this mic here, but last time I took this headset off for the mic, it completely failed. So I'm not going to do that. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. So I suppose this is in light of the Charlie Kirk assassination. Again, I suppose a lot of people are reeling from that, me included. I guess you could say. I don't like to say that I get caught up in politics or ideologies or celebrities. I really dislike celebrities, and the fandom for celebrities to me is like worshipping gods that aren't gods kind of thing, like the whole Taylor Swift thing and Lady Gaga thing and all that, like just the insanity behind all of that. Regardless, if you're wondering what I'm drinking, Little Creatures Pale Ale. That. It's actually not bad beer. I've been to the brewery. It's in Fremantle. It started as a small thing and it's grown a lot, like Maxo's did. There you go. Product placement. Right. Regardless, so it's not bad. Would drink again. There you go. If I was going to say anything, I would say the aftertaste needs a bit of work. That's it. Okay. So the whole left versus right argument is getting way out of hand, and it's going to, a lot of people are talking about things that aren't acceptable for YouTube, you could say. But the one thing I'm certain of is that American universities, for the last 10 years at least, that I've observed, so it's just a non-biased opinion. If you want to know my political stance, I consider myself to be a centralist. I don't consider myself left or right. I vote in my country that I vote for. I vote in. I don't know if I vote for, but I vote in. I lean towards whatever I believe is the best direction for my country at that time. Whoever's politics aligned with my beliefs at that time. I'm a swing voter. I don't tend to say I one or the other, not left or right. When I was younger, I swung more to the left. As I got older, I swung more to the right. And that generally happens with a lot of people. So it's not an unusual thing to happen. It's just as you get older, you learn a lot more and you realize the right isn't actually evil. And it's just, it's just, you've got to remember with politics is everyone's entitled to their opinion. And hang on. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, my nose is a little bit blocked. So that's not a thing that doesn't happen. Now, usually I would put a timestamp on myself on these, and I watch the time, and I guess for about 40 minutes, I try to wrap it up so we can sort of wrap it up between 40 and 45 minutes. Can't really say it's going to happen in this one because we've got a lot to discuss and debate, if you will. And I am open. I really hope that extreme left people watch this video and want to debate me because I'm open for debate and discussion. I'm not one of those people that says that you can't talk to me about what I've raised and say that I don't want to hear an echo chamber. I want people to discuss with me. I'm very open to ideas. So just throwing that out there. Everyone is entitled to make comment. If any comments get blocked or something by YouTube, I'll do my best to make sure that they're all visible and everyone can read what you have to say. I really don't like censorship, and I stand completely against that. Uh, so shout out to Nepal for fighting against censorship, I guess. You should check that out. The internet is kind of covering it, but mainstream media not so much. But yeah. All right. So waffled a bit there, but let's get into it. So, as the title suggests, universities in America are indoctrinating young people. I don't know if that's what it said exactly, but I didn't want the title to be too long and stupid, so I sort of tried to make it so people kind of get the gist without having to kind of be like, what? Okay, whatever, But, So anyway, look, this is why I'm going to say this, all right, guys, because we have seen a very strong push towards the left with communism. And you're entitled to believe in communism if that's what your thing is. I will say that I do not. But it's neither here nor there. And basically, communism in a nutshell is everyone's entitled to everything and should get it for free. And everyone should be placed into jobs and be, mummy and daddied by the government, which, as a person who stands as an individual who's lived all my life, I'm 40 now, I'll tell you, you actually want less government influence in your life, not more. Less is best when it comes to the government. As far as it goes, a nanny state, which where I live in Western Australia, is absolute failure. You do not want nanny state. You get a lot of drug problems and other issues. And believe me, that's a whole nother video. That's a whole nother video. But that's mostly due to nanny stating, because So that, in my opinion, doesn't work. All right, you want less government. You want to stand on your own 2 feet. You want to make your own decisions and impacts in your own life. Okay, that's how I see it. As for these universities, yes. So we've seen them try to they actually have succeeded in indoctrinating young people into communism and these ideologies. Now, I'll tell you one of the big problems with the left. All right, so the left originally doesn't necessarily have bad ideas. All right, there's a reason there's 2 opposing sides, and neither one of them are generally right. But what I can say is what I've observed over the last 20 or 30 years, you could say, is the left tend to placitate to minority groups. They seem to really focus on the voice of a minority group, which doesn't sound bad in itself until you stop standing people up on their own abilities and their own convictions and whatnot, and you stand them up on titles, like in the cases like you might have someone that will go, well, that person has purple hair, so that's interesting. Let's stand them up on a podium and have them talk. Or that person's gay. They don't bring nothing else to the table. They're gay. That's it. That's their whole thing. They're gay. Okay, so you see where I'm going with this. Then what's happened is they've gotten these type of people, and then they've put them on. They've got the extreme versions of these on purpose, mind you. This was not like a hidden thing. This was purpose to get the minority voters. And they've basically put these guys up on a big platform, and they've got these really extreme, insane people, and they've stuck them up and put them in positions of power. So that's why the left went from not so bad, has some good ideas, maybe even ideas that could be used for the future, to what the hell happened here? And they've just gone off the rails, and they are just nutbags. And back in the day, we used to see the right as that. We used to see these like real gun-toting redneck type Alex Jones people. No offense, Alex, but you do come across that way. basically, you get these people and you just be like, oh, no, I'm not going to listen to this person. This person's a crazy person. I don't want to, no. So you can see how it all swings around with politics. It's like a big, like it's got everything's circular, right? So everything's circular, everything comes in circles. So at some point the right will go crazy, then you're going to have the left look much better, right? Because most people are actually don't like change. Okay, most things we hate change. So when you've got these people that are pushing these obscene ideas, you tend to go, oh no, not having that. Most people in politics realize this, and that's why they generally don't say such extreme inflammatory things, but that's basically it. But you got to ask the question is, how are these people like this Tyler Robinson actually, how did he get his thinking? Who taught him? Now, one of the things I will say is they really need to investigate Utah University, where he obviously attended, and go, right, who were his teachers? Bring them out individually in an investigation of anti-terrorism and go, what are you teaching these kids? We've got one of your students shooting a guest speaker. He was an innocent man. All he did was talk. That's it. He talked. He talked the Bible, and he had his opinions and politics, and he let people debate him on that. He never took away their opportunity to speak. He never hurt no one. He was a family man. He was completely innocent. He didn't deserve to die. So what the hell are you teaching these kids? Why is there an innocent man dead now? Because of you, because of what you said. You convinced that kid to, that right-wing guy is a Hitler or a Nazi guy or whatever, and he shot him. That's it. And someone's dead. So there has to be a price to pay. And look, I do not know I don't want to hear all this tenure rubbish. If people are indoctrinating students into thinking like that all people on the right are Nazis, then they have to be held accountable, because obviously it has real world impact, right? People have been killed over this. All right, this has gone too far. There has to be real world judgment on this. There has to be something, like someone has to do something. I'm talking the police, I'm talking the army, I'm talking the FBI, whatever, whoever investigates this stuff. I don't know. Is it like a Jack Reacher person? I don't know. But somebody has to, and somebody has to present the information to these judges and say, look, what these people are teaching them in their curriculum has brought is doing this. People are dying because of it. So we can't not do nothing. Nothing is not an option anymore. Nothing is no longer the option. You've forced our hand. Now we're going to have to take action. Now people are going to have to learn. Now people are going to have to go to jail for this, because, look, we did this in America and Australia and the UK and all that, where we profiled the Islamic teachers at the mosques and that colleges. Oh, did I spell that wrong? Okay, mate. Sorry about that. I'll fix it up later. We profiled these people at the mosques because they were breeding terrorists in our country. All right, in all of our Western countries, these people were breeding terrorists, right? So, obviously, we need to say, well, this is obviously happening, but it might not be a Muslim terrorist as we understand it, but it is definitely a terrorist of a type, if you want, or they're breeding mental illness. Really don't know what to call it, to be honest. It could be one or the other. Easily, you could say, again, it's that left and right argument. Easily, you could say it's one or the other. Say this Tyler Robinson would fit into either category. His actions were politically motivated, which makes him a terrorist, but he could be mentally insane, which makes him mentally insane. So that in itself is it's neither here nor there. I just want you to see how easy it is to debate and have an opinion about something and be wrong, but also maybe be right without the use of violence. Nobody has to die for their opinion, okay? Nobody has to die for talking. Talking is allowed. That is how we learn, all right? As one of the species on this entire planet, we are the only species that can actually talk to each other and understand each other and understand complex thought. So why can't we, as a society, go, no, we're not going to have violence for words. That is not going to happen anymore. So we're going to take real world action to make sure that this kind of thinking and that doesn't happen. Now, what I'm going to raise is a book. Now, this book was something I read in high school. This is just high school education. It's nothing, all right? It's about one of the only things I actually remember from high school, if you can believe that. What I will tell you is this, all right? So there was a book called The Wave, all right? There is a book called The Wave. You can still buy it today. It's not a long book. It's not hard to read. It's actually pretty short. I would call it a short story. I think it was only about 84 pages. I don't think it was even it wasn't a hard book to read. That's how can I remember that? But other things, no. Anyway, in this book, if you haven't read it, it's about a teacher, and he's trying to teach his students about World War II, and they were all asking about Nazi Germany and why did the Germans follow Hitler? All right, because it is a good question, but they couldn't understand why people couldn't see how insane Hitler was and his ideology about killing or wiping out an entire race of people, right? So obviously they didn't understand how easily people get brainwashed. So he set up an experiment where he put in Nazi ideology into the school curriculum, I guess, or something. I don't know, I can't remember exactly, but something like that. They all started following it, kids with red hair aren't allowed to eat in the lunchroom or something. And anyone, if they were caught eating in the lunchroom, other students started beating them up. Or something like that. So towards the end, he goes, well, this has gotten out of hand. So I need to show them who their leader is. So he takes them to the auditorium and he puts up a big projector and he goes, so all you guys out there want to know where these ideologies are coming from and who your great thinker is, who your great leader is. And then a picture of Adolf Hitler comes up. And obviously that's the end of the experiment and everyone's like, oh my God, what have we done? What has happened to the left is exactly the wave. You are emphasizing Hitler. That's it. You are becoming Hitler. If not, you're already Hitler because of what your ideologies are standing for now. That is why the right dislikes you. All right? We don't like Hitlers. Let's just clear that up. We don't like failed painters, Austrian failed painters, and we don't like people that stand against other people based on those kind of things where you want to subjugate people based on an ethnicity or something. That's bad. That's really bad. And history should not repeat itself. You should be educated enough to understand that. You're in a college or a university, for God's sake. Use your brain. Start thinking properly. Realize that, just read the book. It'll probably tell you everything you need to know. So, what else are we going to do about this? Because obviously, just holding this kind of people accountable isn't going to be enough. There's going to be a lot of pushback from the left because of these extreme people on the left who are going to say how evil we are for holding these people accountable, for bringing them to justice for causing the deaths of innocents. You know, there will be, but it has to be done. All right, it has to be done now because can't allow people to be killed. That is bad. All right, that is bad. Innocent people should never be killed for words. It should never happen. All right, everyone is entitled to live their life. So, how are we going to stop this? Well, a lot of places I've been told, look, if you want to stop migrants, you change a policy of a country that generally stops migrants. If you look at Australia and now the US, a lot of illegal migrants don't come to these countries because of our harsh stance on illegal immigration, right? So, right, now you start to understand. In these workplaces, we need to make it very clear that wokeism, that all of that will not be tolerated in schools or universities as a curriculum. Okay, it will not be taught. You know, what people learn and do in their own free time is completely up to them, and what they want to do about that's up to them. But as far as being allowed in public as a public education importance, it is not, and we can see why. Because look what it's breeding, look who it's hurting. You know. Now, I'm not going to suggest anything other than what can be legally done, all right? But there has to be something. And I think these college professors, in my opinion, if they are the ones teaching these kids this kind of rhetoric, they need to be treated like, profiled like the Muslim mosque, is whatever you call them, the leaders of the mosque people, I forget what their name is, the priests of the mosque who were indoctrinating Muslims into attacking other people, right? So that is like that's how I would do it. They get started profiled, and I don't care what they say. Now you got to remember, with a leader does not care what someone is going to say about it. They're just going to do what they got to do, all right, for the benefit of everyone. They're going to do what they got to do. So this whole, but we'll be worried about what the left will do. Nah, tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do X, and then once we've done X, then we're going to see what the results are. It hasn't worked. Is this making a real world impact for the better? You know, we don't care about your feelings on the matter. Your feelings mean nothing to us. All right? Just like our feelings mean nothing to you. But that doesn't mean that we're going to comply with your crybaby attitudes. Now, a lot of these left-wing people never really worked a real job in their life. All right? I'm going to say it. You're a bunch of man children and man women, or not man women, like children women, man childs. Is that really a word? Classify them under that umbrella. That they're not mature enough adults because they haven't worked properly. You see, the most of us think on the right, we don't go out and do politics and talk about nonsense and all of that because we've got families to feed and look after. We don't have time for nonsense, right? We don't care. We just want to make money and look after our family. That's it. I mean, working at a coffee shop is hardly what I would call hard work, all right? It isn't hard work. Pouring a coffee is not hard work. No one is putting you under extreme stress. No one has got you under deadlines. No one has got you needing to get things done, even when you are exhausted physically and mentally, haven't had enough sleep, whatever, haven't eaten enough, doesn't matter. Still got to get the work done. Stop being a crybaby, get it done. You know, you have people like that in your life. The reason why that makes men and women out of people is because it puts responsibility on people. All right? And no longer, they're responsible for themselves. So if they can get that work done better, then that's on them. So that's good. If they get it done worse, that's on them. So that's bad for them. You know, they just had to stay back longer because that's on them. So what I'm saying is, a lot of you think that you go to a job from the universities into some exciting career. The reality is that there isn't really exciting careers out there for a lot of people. 99% of work is mundane work because, remember, people just need stuff. Imagine this, okay? I can't use a company called X anymore and say company X does this because obviously Elon Musk named Twitter X, so that's no longer possible. We can't do that. Thanks, Elon. He's probably laughing at that, but whatever. Whatever makes you happy, I guess. So we're going to call it the Mason Stone Factory, okay? Which is a brick company. We're going to call it that because basically what they do is they make bricks. And people need bricks, so they make bricks and sell them. Doesn't sound very exciting, but guess what? That company makes real bank because they make something that people need, so they buy it. What a lot of these kids don't understand is if you want to earn real money and stop earning this, little pennies at serving coffees or whatever, and get some real work done, you need to go to companies like that. And you need to say to them, I want to work for you. And I'll work damn hard. I don't know what it is that you would have me doing. I don't care. I'm just here to work and earn money. And if you have me, I'll be a good loyal employee. I'll turn up every day at the times that you need me to. I'll work for the hours you need me to. And I'll do the work you need me to because I want to prove myself to you. Right? Now, that's the attitude you've got to have and you've got to show. All right? And they'll have you doing stuff. But yeah, truth be told, there's a lot of jobs out there. Honestly, there's a lot of jobs that 99% of jobs are just jobs that people need you to do. All right? They just work. It's just work. People just need things. Life is pretty mundane. Most of the time, people just need their food. They need things built. They need projects finished on time. They need things like gas and oil. They need electricity. They need medical care. Like, life isn't a TV show. Things just need to happen. That's all. All right? So, I don't know where you get this glamorous idea about work. And a lot of people might say, oh, but Gen Z are a bunch of doomers and they think that the world is like against them. So, you're going to quit? You're going to be a wimpy, oh, I didn't get what I wanted attitude? Or are you just going to go, oh, these are the cards I'm dealt. So, I'm going to play the hand I'm dealt. I'm going to work with what I've got. You go where the money is. You go where the work is. It's usually the same thing. You do what work needs to be required. There's no job better than anyone else's job. Bosses have usually been in a company a long time, have earned their positions, so don't worry about it. You can't do their job better than them. Stop thinking about it. Stop thinking you've got to be the man or the woman. All right? You just need to earn money. What you need to do. And not worry about everything else. Because everything else can wait. It doesn't matter. I would say that we need to bring back asylums. Absolutely. I think this case for Charlie is a very strong indicator that asylums need to be brought back. I know Donald Trump's talked about it. I wish my government would, but my government are a bunch of pussies. And I mean, there's proof in that where Albo, I can't believe I just called him Albo. Albanese. Yeah, I don't like those silly little nicknames they give themselves. You know, you get a nickname, you don't give yourself a nickname. Like when I was working, I used to look like Mr. Bean. Maybe people still think I look like Mr. Bean or Rowan Atkinson, so they used to call me Bean. All right, I think it's pretty cool, so I embraced it. But yeah, I mean, Mr. Bean is funny, so if people think I'm funny, awesome. If not, oh. But anyway, yeah. He was talking about taking away these laws that are basically profiling the Muslim people. But I think if we look across the UK, Europe, all of that, where they have enormous amounts of problems from Islam, I think we can safely say that that is a terrible idea. Yeah, especially the UK on that one. I recently did a video about that even. Yeah, but look, I will say to Albanese, if ASIO is watching this video, I've mentioned enough things that they'll probably think I'm a crazy person, whatever. Hi, ASIO. These are not laws that I would take away. No, just leave them alone. They do their job. Just let it be. The fact that we don't have problems like that here is probably suggesting that they do their job quite well. So let's just keep it like that. Told you people don't like change, so no change. Thanks. So yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking. My brain is thinking. Right, yeah, I was going to bring this up actually. 20 years ago, when 9/11 happened, right? I was in school, watching it on the television. We're all shocked. We've never seen anything like that. We're all just like, oh my God, like this is World War III. Like that's what we're thinking. Like we're expecting a massive response by America, like jets flying over, ships going over, and just bombing the hell out of everything over there, just leveling everything to the ground. I'm thinking, well, I'm nearly of military age, so I'm going to get drafted into World War III. Wow, that's great. Don't know how I'll go with that, but yeah, that's what we're looking at. Anyway, that's what we're thinking. Obviously, that wasn't exactly what happened. It's a secular war, I guess you could say. But the interesting thing about all of that is when all these Islamic people were coming to our countries, why did we think importing people that did that to us, basically saying they hate us and want to kill us, why did we think that was a good idea? And why are we placitating to them at all? Like the UK government, why are they placitating to them? These people have stamped their claim as to what they're going to do, what they dislike about us. They plan to eradicate us. They hate us for just existing. They want us to die for just being alive. And I know a lot of Muslim people out there will say, oh, no. Really? I think your actions speak louder than words, though, don't they? Maybe you should tell your brethren not to attack us. They want to live in our countries. We believe in observing actions, not words. You say whatever you want, but yeah, just saying. Well, anyway, ever since then, ever since 9/11, people like myself and a whole bunch of everyone else have always said, I don't think importing these people into our country is a good idea. I don't think it leads to great outcomes for everyone. Here we are. Here we are. You reported so many, and there was even videos that showed the Muslims' plan, right? There was videos that were like, at 10% they do this, at 20% they do this, at 30% they start taking over. Those videos have been completely erased from the internet. I will have you know. The internet has gone full Islamabad. Like, I don't know why that is, but like, again, like, I believe people earn their stereotypes, right? So you could say whatever you want about me, right? It's up to me to prove I'm not my stereotype. That's my job. Same applies to everyone else. There's a reason stereotypes exist. It's up to you to prove you are not a stereotype. It is up to you to prove you are an individual. Hate me for saying that? Fine. It's fine. Again, words don't hurt people. So yeah, you can call me a racist for saying those things about Muslims, but I'll tell you something, Islam isn't a race. You can have I have a friend that's a white Muslim. So there you go. That. It's not a race. It's a religion. You can't be, and do I have a phobia of Islam? Not really, but I'm not scared of much. So, yeah, I don't like snakes and spiders. I suppose I have a phobia of that, particularly the big, hairy spiders. They move really fast. And they creep up on you. Like, the last thing you want is a big huntsman on your face in the morning. Could you imagine? Or waking up to a snake in the toilet. Like an actual snake. I've heard of that. Imagine waking up and taking a poop and having a snake bite you on the bum. You wouldn't find, look, that's a rational fear. That's not irrational. I know that's very unlikely, but it can happen. It's happened up north. I've heard of people finding king browns in the toilet. It's real. It does happen. So, yeah. As far as big hairy spiders, yeah, they starting to warm up here. You might even see a big hairy spider one day on my video. You might be like, oh wow, they get big. I get on my block when I first mowed it, covered in wolf spiders. Wolf spiders are quite big. They get as big as huntsmen's. Oh, maybe not quite as big. They get big. All right, they're like the tarantula type spider. So I suppose there's a possibility that huntsmen and wolf spiders like living on my property. Maybe. I guess. It's just something you have to live with and not worry about. Anyway, another lighthearted stuff. Look, guys, all this left and right wing politics, just remember, you are not talking to remember when you're talking to a left and a right person. We're all people, all right? We're all entitled to have a different opinion and a different chain of thought, and that's okay. What we're not entitled to do is harm each other for it, all right? And if harm is becoming an action, then we as people have to take real action to prevent that. And if that hurts a particular group, then so be it, okay? Just remember that. But actions have to have consequences, and consequences have to lead to better outcomes. Because we're adults here, and our job is to protect the innocent, is to protect each other, and ensure that our families and our futures are better than the day we had before, are better than the ones we had. We have to ensure a guaranteed future that leaves the world a better place. That's what we have to ensure. There aren't any good or bad people. There's only grey, right? Everyone, just remember, there aren't any good or bad dogs. There are bad owners. The same can be said for people. People aren't necessarily good or evil. Everyone has their qualities, right? And everyone has their traits. What I can suggest is this. Instead of looking at someone who you don't like what they have to say, up to you to prove that they're wrong. Not necessarily by doing anything bad, but by showing the good of your outcome, of what you're saying. If we always keep showing each other instead of negative aspects about life and show people good things that they're capable of doing, the world becomes a lot better. Okay? There is plenty to have in this world. And it was like what I used to tell the elderly people in my old job. A place like a nursing home can be a good or a bad place. Okay? It's up to you what you take away from it. It can be a good place, and you can make it good, or it can be a bad place, and you can hate living there and existing there. But the choice will be yours in the end. No one can make that for you. So you have to do that yourself, because the staff will only come and do their job. They're not going to have an opinion, or they're not going to go out of their way to make anyone's life better or miserable. They'll prefer to make it better, but if you're a miserable person and you want to be miserable, that's what will happen. Nobody is going to be able to stop that. So I obviously didn't add that last part. But the point is the same. I don't treat people like they are stupid. Okay, I will never treat you like you are stupid. If I talk to you in this video or directed, like, I'm going to treat you like an adult. I will talk to you like an adult. Even kids, I don't talk to kids like they're dumb. If a kid asks me a question, if I can answer it, if it's within their maturity understanding, and I can answer it that they can understand, I will. But I won't treat them like they need to have their eyes covered, So long as it's within, it's not going to harm them to tell them something. Like if a 6-year-old come up to you and ask you about death, you're not going to tell them about death specifically. You're probably just going to say somebody will be sleeping, they won't wake up, and we won't hear from them again, But when you're older, I'll explain it a bit more. Right? You're not going to say they're gone and they're never coming back, and you have to learn to live without them now. You're not going to have to say something like that. But yeah, and it's really awful that people have to make videos like this to say it, because honestly, none of these kind of things should ever really be happening in our society. But obviously things have gotten so bad that now we're having these discussions. And like I said, I'm very open to discussion and what people have to say. So if you don't like what I have to say, by all means, say it. Say it to me, and I will talk back to you, and we will have a healthy discussion. And there will be no fighting about it. There will be no putting each other down. We'll just discuss our ideas like adults. Okay? I want to wrap this up here. I really hope you guys take care of yourselves. But we really need to look at these universities, absolutely, as my final closing statement. And we really need to hold these people accountable, because this is happening across America, and I believe across Australia too. And it's unacceptable. All right? It's unacceptable. There will be no more indoctrination of young people. All right? Young people, you are free to have an open mind, but just remember, some people will try and, Hitler you, kind of thing. And if you don't believe it can happen, believe me, it's very easy for anything like that to happen. People can have their minds warped. Okay? It is a practice that countries do across the world, to their agents, their CIA agents and their ASIO agents and all of that. They deliberately brainwash them to do a job and think a certain way and act a certain way. Okay? And it's just part of their curriculum, you could say. And you might not understand why. There is reasons. It's not necessarily bad, but just to say it is a proven method. It does work. It does happen. It doesn't necessarily mean it should be used for evil, which these people in these positions of power and these professors and whatever tend to seem to be using. for their own agendas, and it's unacceptable. And we should definitely hold them accountable, and there should definitely be real world actions and jail time for people are killed. And I think that's absolute. It should be absolute. The law is absolute, people are absolute, and life is absolute. So, yeah, the old, what do they call them? They had a computer thing for a while. They used to hack people. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us. Those people. Yes, those anarchist people. You know what? They never really did any good hacking, did they? Like they didn't. I don't know. Steal the richest money and divide it amongst the poor. Could you imagine? That's what I would have done. If I had that power. I'd be like, MasterCard. No more money for you. Oh, there's all these poor countries. Equally divide. I would totally mess up the world in that situation. 100%. I would definitely reorder the financial world. There would be so much change. You'd be like, all these people have got money now. Wow. Like their life suddenly became better. Amazing. Amazing what equally distributing resources do for people. Wow. Anyway,